Episode 6, 5-1 DC characters.
No singing. I don't like singing. Would be.
Yeah. Star Wars wouldn't sing in the movie. That's
I know.
just
Probably
dumb.
not. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of 5-1, the best hour of your day and the best list podcast in existence. 5-1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each week. Today we are featuring the best DC characters in our style of counting down from 5-1. So we got some equipment upgrades going on in here. You guys say hi.
Sup?
Sup?
We all have our own microphone now. We don't have to take turns sitting around one microphone, right?
Professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, a major upgrade. And we have some other components that are still in shipping. We got a new mixer and some new cables coming in, and will be the palatial 5-1 studios will be even further upgraded in the near future. So we have our normal panel back today. Kate, how was your vacation?
Ear. That's all I can say.
Ear. Well, I know what that means because I'm your dad and I've been here. Why don't you explain what ear means to our listeners out there?
Okay, so I went to a really amazing 5-star luxurious resort called the Gaylord, and there's like 20,000 people in one pool, and you know everybody's like getting sick and stuff. It's really cool. And I got an ear infection.
So why did you go to the Gaylord?
Because my friend invited me for a birthday party. His birthday was a few months ago, back in February.
Was it really a birthday party? I thought it was just because it's summer and they wanted to go.
Well, technically, it was sort of his birthday party, and you know they also just really wanted to go there.
And he's going to a different school next year, right?
Yes.
So it was kind of neat for you to get to spend the weekend with him.
We can still play Xbox together. So.
Yeah. Well, you guys have ways to connect now that I didn't have when I was a kid. When we moved,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, nice knowing you. Have a good life.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're back for sure. While you were out seeing the world, your mother filled in admirably in your place. She did a very good job, but we did miss you. We might have to offer her a contract again sometime because we need some much-needed female perspective on this show at times.
True.
We need a daughter.
And the episode we did, yeah, we do need a daughter. The episode we did while you were gone was
No, we need a brother.
was on our favorite places to eat. So maybe if you want to run down real quick at the end of the show, just a few of your favorites, we can do that at the end of this show.
Yeah.
All right, let's give our proper introduction so our listeners know who is on the panel today. In our typical style of naming, we are themed today around DC. I am Chris Kent. I know, it's pretty lame.
Chris Kent?
Yeah, you know, like Clark Kent.
Who's Clark Kent?
Why?
Undercover Superman.
Yeah, it's a Superman's
Clark Kent
Buddy.
looks the exact same as Superman. How can they tell apart?
How can they not tell them apart?
He has glasses on.
Yeah, he puts the glasses on,
Glasses are
and then he's not wearing the Superman cape when he's Clark Kent.
people in 2006.
People in 2016 just don't know about
Anything.
the real Superman. I know Chris Kent is pretty lame, but really, there's not many DC options for my name. But I have better names for you guys. I'm joined today by the Jett League
Oh, yeah, I like that.
and by Kryptonite Kade.
Yay!
All right, mine's a little bit.
All right, so a couple weeks ago, we talked about our 5-1 Marvel characters, and that led to some great discussion, and we immediately wanted to follow that up with a corresponding DC episode. I think this one should be interesting, too, if only because of the age difference between me and you guys. My experience with these characters differs vastly from yours, especially during my formative years, and you guys are in your formative years right now, so I'm really curious to see how you put your list together. Kryptonite Kade, what is your experience with the DC universe?
I had most of my experience, you know, this is kind of lame, but from DC, the Marvel Injustice game. That game was awesome. I played it for a long time. I kind of grown off of it. Me and Jett liked it for a little bit. You beat most of the game, but, you know, Justice League, remember, Jett?
Justice League. It
was Injustice.
Yeah, Injustice.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. By the way, when we were talking about Marvel characters and we were talking about the little guys, and I couldn't remember what they were called. I think they're called the Superhero Squad. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking about that.
Squad, I remember
Okay, so video games, some movies, you basically the
Yeah.
extent of your experience with DC.
I've had more experience with Marvel than I've had with DC.
You've seen the Dark Knight movies, right? The new Batman, the kind of
Not
new
the new
Batman
ones. I haven't
You haven't
seen
seen any of them?
No, none of the new ones.
Oh.
I want to. I just never got.
I was
going
going to ask you to do an impression of Batman in that movie.
Batman.
Yeah, can you do it?
I'm Batman.
Okay, can you do that? Can you do that Batman doing an impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger? Just do your Arnold. Okay, now make that sound in Batman's voice.
It's just like that weird bass sound. You know the. I don't know.
Say "Get to the chopper" in Arnold's voice.
Get to the chopper.
Now do that in Arnold's voice and Batman combined.
It hurts my throat.
Okay.
I can't do it.
You've been sick. I'll give you a pass on this one. All right, Justice League. What is your experience in the DC universe? Is it different than Cade's?
Yeah, I hardly know anything about DC, honestly.
Yeah. I think
Marvel Universe is probably way cooler.
the Marvel renaissance has been much more successful in the movies than the DC has. So,
well, you gotta admit though, everybody knows Superman.
yeah,
Like,
no, I'm not saying you don't know who
Yeah,
they are.
everybody knows
I'm just-
Spider-Man.
I'm just saying that Marvel in the movie world right now has a much
Universe.
richer universe of characters and movies that people
I
enjoy
think
than
don't they
DC.
have like much more comics?
I think they do overall, but I am not a comic expert, so I couldn't tell you. And I will say when I was doing research for this, I went to the DC website and clicked on characters, and when I was looking for names and things like that, and there weren't that many. I was surprised at how few there were. There were a lot more Marvel characters when I did the research for that episode. So I think you're probably right. I think the comics are much more expansive in the Marvel universe. Mine is similar to my Marvel experience, but skewed toward a different time of my life. I've really only seen the movies and a few TV shows, and I've never really read the comics. But as a child, I was much more inclined towards DC. In my adult life, I found Marvel to be a lot more richer and entertaining. So I've kind of had a shift of allegiance over the years, and you can tell in my list. When I go through my list, you'll hear that. And I'm really interested to hear how you guys put your list together. Are you ready to get started?
Let's
Yep.
get straight into this.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Bane.
Okay.
Batman's villain. I played him a lot as in the Injustice game. That's probably where I've known most of him. I've seen him in a lot of different stages of how he looks and how he acts and fights. I found his character really cool though. Like when he's super strong, he inputs those what I think is probably steroids into him, and he just gets stronger and bigger.
Some
and
type
tougher.
of stim.
Kate,
Yeah.
you might be thinking of another game. You've only played Injustice once.
No, I played it. I played it a few times. I played it on my phone a lot too. On the iPad.
on the iPad. Yeah, I
Yeah.
spent $500 on it.
Yeah, you got in a lot of trouble for that.
Hey, we got everything back, and he got to keep the stuff.
That's true. We're not doing that again. That was a one-time refund from Apple. Actually, you've done it twice, but fortunately, it was against 2 different iTunes accounts, so we were refunded both times. And Kay did, of course, on the Xbox, and we did not get refunded for that.
Yeah, $170.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Dang.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Bane. Bane is the one in the third installment in the Dark Knight trilogy that has the mask on his face. It's black.
It's all
Yeah.
bulgy.
He talks like this,
Like
and
he
he's
has
kind
a
of
cup,
hard to
like a
understand
cup
sometimes.
over his head.
Yeah.
No.
He reminds me a little bit of Vader
Oh yeah.
because he wears a mask that I don't know if he has to wear it, but
I think he has to wear it to breathe. I don't know. I did not watch the movies. I watched 5 minutes technically of the new one, but
that was the least well received of the 3 Dark Knight movies. Like the other 2 were very critically acclaimed, and that one was kind of panned a little bit. It was just meh.
Meh.
Yeah, but I liked it. I mean, I gave my opinion on those Batman movies in the Marvel episode, and we'll get into it more here. But I liked it okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
true.
I think Bane probably looks way cooler in the comics and the video games than probably the movie.
You think he looks cooler in the comics?
Yeah, and the video games with that, like...
Yeah, the games look they put lots of detail into him in the games, especially in like every type of character because they have like different types.
Have you seen him in Injustice? He is awesome.
Yes, they have like different types of characters for him, and every single one looks different. And as they get more powerful in the game, they also get a lot cooler.
Oh yeah. Also, if you can download Scorpion, and he looks awesome.
You can download Scorpion in Injustice?
Yeah, something...
Is
It was
Injustice
awesome.
like a fighting game, or is it like
yes, it's a
fighting
fighting.
game.
It is made by the same creators as Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I think I remember.
Injustice. You know how much I wanted it
I remember how much you wanted it, yeah. I do
for
remember
Easter.
that.
Easter 2015, a long time ago.
Bane not only has a resemblance to Vader, but he also shares a name with a Star Wars character.
Who?
Darth Bane.
Oh, true.
Oh yeah, true.
That is true.
Most of you guys probably don't know who that is.
Unless you're a Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in the Clone Wars cartoon series.
Yes, he was.
Really?
Well,
Oh,
that makes
yeah.
him canon.
Yeah, exactly. He's part of canon now, yeah.
Sorry.
So
It
does
was
that
a
make
spoiler.
everybody in his story canon? No.
No, just
just
the piece
makes
that was in the
his-
Clone Wars. The novels, the Darth Bane novels, there's 3 of them, I think. They're now...
Are they canon?
Well, no, they're not canon because everything that was written in the novels before the Disney acquisition is considered legends, is what they call it. But they're really good, and you can enjoy those stories without them being official canon. I mean,
That
it's
is
still
true. With the Disney thing, I don't want them to make Star Wars into like a love story or anything like that, or something different than what it was originally.
well.
like-
They've
That's
already had a
never gonna
movie come
happen.
out, and it was very similar to the original trilogy. So I think you can
Very,
be rest
very
assured
similar.
that they are respecting the legacy of the Star Wars lore.
No singing. I don't like singing. Would be.
Yeah. Star Wars wouldn't sing in a movie. That's
I know.
just
Probably
dumb.
not. Probably not. All right. So number 5 is Bane. Jet, do you have any other thoughts on Bane?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't have him on my list. I can assure you that. But I do kind of like him. I do think he's an interesting villain. It was kind of weird in the movie because he was hard to understand because he talked like this the whole time. But other than that, he was a pretty interesting character. My number 5 is also a villain. And I had let me just say, I had a hard time putting my DC list together. I found a lot of characters that I thought, I don't really want to put them on my top 5, but I'm running short.
Yeah.
So this guy, I don't have really any real experience with, so I kind of...
Oh, I can guess. Deathstroke.
It is Deathstroke.
He is my number 2.
Okay, so I don't have any real experience with him, and I'm breaking my own rule by including him on here, but I wanted to do something
Different.
that wasn't from one of the 2 main movies, basically, from Superman and Batman. And I really like the Deathstroke look, his character. I didn't even know who he was until Jett really got into him at one point, and you wanted the action figure.
There's a Batman game. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or we were just normally talking, but in a game that's pretty old, I think it came out like 2009, Deathstroke, and the graphics in it is amazing, like absolutely outstanding.
Well,
They did really well on his character.
he
model.
looks very cool. He's a very well-designed
very
character.
menacing.
I think he kind of reminds me of Deadpool a little bit, but
Yeah,
he looks
Deathstroke.
cooler.
Deathstroke, Deadpool, sort of
Like,
similar.
I know Deadpool is like way funnier, and I hear these battles, Deathstroke versus Deadpool. I love Deathstroke, but I like Deadpool more, and Deadpool would absolutely destroy
Yeah,
Deathstroke. He would
Deathstroke is.
demolish him.
Oh, he basically his backstory. Really, a very experienced assassin. I don't think he has very many. I don't think he has a superpower. He's very strong.
I did a little bit of research on him for this episode, and
I
most
know
of his
some-
backstory came from the comics. It actually sounded really interesting. His powers are similar to Deadpool, but not as strong, and he can regenerate, but not as quickly. He's actually closer in powers to Captain America. He was like he was designed to be a super soldier, and he was given some type of
I know his
serum
story.
that made him stronger, faster, and he was a tactical genius. He could think really quickly too.
So how did he become on the like the assassin type
I
bounty
know.
hunter thingy?
So I'm pretty sure. I think this is how it goes. That I don't know. Maybe his wife and him got in a fight, and then like his wife maybe cut his eye out.
You're on the right track. He was he was a super soldier, and his wife he trained him actually on how to fight. and they ended up falling in love. And I don't know all the details, but something happened. Some type of tragedy happened in their family. I think his son died, and she blamed him because he put him at risk. And so she attacked him, and she took out one of his eyes. So that's why his mask, like one side, there's not even an eye because he's blind.
Did he kill his wife?
I didn't see that in the story. I don't think maybe he did. I'm not sure. You're not asking the right guy. But the part that I did read of his origin story was rife with family issues and tragedy. And I find that kind of stuff interesting when they're talking about the backstories of how these characters came to be. He did a lot of things that were like good and bad, and I guess in the end, because he was kind of had that bounty hunter mentality.
Yeah, he reminds me of Boba Fett
a little bit like Boba Fett, and Boba Fett is mostly considered a villain, even though he's not an evil bad guy, because he's out for himself and he's not in it for a greater cause.
He's still a bad guy.
Then they're considered bad guys.
Yeah, because I remember when he, whenever you witness him in Injustice, it shows him walk off into like his like little like lair, you know. And he goes on a computer, and he searches up, and he has like a list of weapons he can use, and like a big arsenal to the right.
No, that's not right.
And then you can, yeah, it is.
No,
and then he scrolls, and then there's like it scrolls through all like a bunch of targets and like X's over something.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I don't remember it seeing any weapons on it.
Oh, he was trained in all sorts of weapons and various forms of hand-to-hand combat, martial arts. There were like 5 or 6 or 7 listed that when I went through like. Yeah. Different
Taekwondo.
Yeah, ninjutsu
and
stuff like that. So he also, I mean, really for me though, it's just that he looks cool. I mean,
he's pretty awesome.
That's not a great reason to put him on my list, but I wanted something different. And we talked about Boba Fett. He kind of looks like Boba Fett to me a little bit. I know the colors are slightly different. He's blue instead of green, but really cool armor and just a cool guy.
All right.
So what's your number 5, Jett?
The Joker.
The Joker.
Oh, I forgot. I had Deathstroke number 3.
If you wrote these down, then you wouldn't have to remember what number he was.
Yeah. It's way easier.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Jett. Joker.
I don't really have that much to explain about him.
I have number 4 on my list. Okay. Number 4 is Joker.
Okay.
Number 4 is Deathstroke.
Jett has number 5 as Joker.
Oh, yeah, I like his storyline a lot. Like, didn't he fall in a pit of poison?
Joker is my number 1.
It depends on which movie or comic you're following. I know I'm mostly familiar with the 1989 movie Batman that kind of resurrected the series.
I like that one.
And that one, he fell into some type of vat of chemicals.
Was he just a normal guy?
He was, but he was like a criminal. He killed Batman, Bruce Wayne's parents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome. So menacing, you know. I love the why so serious thing, you know. Like.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to ask you. Who is your favorite version of Joker? Because there's been multiple iterations played by multiple actors. There's another one coming out with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
it's Jared Leto.
I'm excited to see that.
I think the movie Suicide Squad is going to be amazing, but I don't really like the Joker as much as the original ones.
So which one do you like? Do you like the one that's Why So Serious? That's Heath Ledger.
I like the Why So Serious one. That one's pretty sick to me.
Yeah, he did a really good job. And the ones I watched when I was a kid, it was Jack Nicholson, who's a very famous actor.
My favorite Joker is actually like not from a movie or an actor. Like it's painted or something. I don't know. It's drawn, but like a Joker where his hair's all crazy and stuff, and he's holding a card, and there's like fire in the background.
I think I've seen that picture on the internet before.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I like the Why So Serious picture, you know, where see his eyes are like messed up and like his big red smile. You know, I find I like playful villains, like, you know, the Harley Quinn and you know, they're laughing and big funny things and just I don't know. He's so.
So my thing with Joker, I didn't put Joker on my list. I picked a different villain, and he's my number 4. So we'll get to it in a minute. But I prefer the Jack Nicholson version. And I prefer those movies in general, so that it fits in with that. I think Heath Ledger, who's the Why So Serious Joker, did a really, really good job. He got a lot of attention for that role in that movie.
Why So Serious? I'm not familiar.
Have you seen the Dark Knight?
I don't think I've seen the whole. I haven't seen any Batman movie full.
So what happened? Heath Ledger was just kind of a normal actor. I mean, a lot of girls liked him because he was a very handsome guy, but he wasn't like well known for being a great actor, okay? And then he did this role as Joker, and he crushed it. He did a great job. And then he died right before the movie came out in real life. and he got a lot of attention.
How did he die?
I don't remember. He was young, so it was probably something not good. But he died pretty shortly before the movie came out, but after they had finished filming, and his portrayal of Joker, which was really good, got even more attention because of his death, and kind of made this giant. It just snowballed from there, and I don't want to say he's overrated, but I kind of feel like because of the extra attention he got from his death and the timing of his death, maybe makes his portrayal of Joker a little bit overrated. Now, that being said, I still think he did a really good job as Joker. It was very convincing, but I prefer Jack Nicholson's. And Jack Nicholson is one of the all-time greats as an actor, and he did an amazing job as well. Anything else on Joker, Jett?
Nope.
Kate, is Joker on your list?
Joker's my number 1.
Okay.
I thought Batman was.
Do you want to save? Do you want to talk about him some more then, or do you want to finish now?
I'll finish now with just saying he's so menacing. I like his story with Harley Quinn too.
Harley Quinn's actually kind of a good guy.
Harley Quinn is very on both sides.
She's a good guy.
I've seen her in some games. Not games. I've seen her in some versions of just online videos and stuff from TV shows and stuff. She can be some good guy, she can be some bad guy. It depends on what she's feeling.
I think she ends up as a good guy. I'm pretty sure.
I really don't know anything about her except how she looks.
Yeah, very Joker style.
Yeah, she does kind of look like the clown paint, like Joker a little bit.
I saw a Joker card set, where it was a Batman card set, and they had King was Batman or something, and they had, but the Joker was awesome on that card set. He was holding a car that was burning already. It was really cool.
Okay, so Kate, who is your number 4?
My number 4 was Deathstroke, and we already talked about it.
Okay, so we'll move on to mine. Mine is a villain also, but I went with the other huge DC series, and I picked Lex Luthor. Superman's main villain from the original movies back in the late 70s and early 80s. He doesn't have any superpowers. He's just a normal human, but he's evil, and he's got a genius level intelligence. He's extremely smart. I found this interesting. In the movies, he kind of in the old movies anyways, he kind of plays like a gangster type. He's kind of a scumbag, and he's greedy, and he wants money, and he's funny, and he's like a scumbag, but in an endearing way, if that makes sense. You kind of like him as a villain, even though he's just kind of a dirty guy. But in the comics, in the movies, they didn't show his genius as much. I mean, he was smart, but in the comics, they go on to explain he's an expert in science and technology, business, strategy, engineering, physics, and electrics. And when I read about that and learned more about it, he became even more interesting to me. Also in the comics, he was president of the United States for some time, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he built a suit that was kind of similar to Iron Man that helped him fight against Superman in hand-to-hand combat.
And explosions and stuff.
It had a built-in kryptonite sword.
Oh.
So the downside to me of Lex Luthor is that he's really one-dimensional because the only way he can beat Superman is with kryptonite.
True. That's the only way anybody can beat Superman.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to say. It's not entirely his fault. It's the dilemma with having an impervious hero that can't be defeated except by this one thing.
Yeah.
So it's a symptom of the storytelling aspect that nobody can beat Superman unless they have kryptonite. But his own ambitions and antics that aren't Superman related are what make him interesting to me, Lex Luthor, because he had his own goals. In one of the movies, he wants to blow up the coast of California, and he bought all the land that would be the new coast of California after he blows up the San Andreas Fault, and that has nothing to do with Superman. Superman ends up stopping it, right? But Lex Luthor is it's not like he is just out to get Superman. He's out to do his own thing, and Superman's getting in his way, and that makes him interesting to me.
Whoever's in his way, he just destroys.
Yeah, I don't have much on Lex Luthor, but you explained most of it, what I thought about him. I do like his suit, though, his suit on how he fights. I've seen it in many different forms of his suit, from comics to shows to video games, especially video games. They changed it a lot.
Yeah, I remember when he was it Injustice maybe, where he's in the game, or it might have been Mortal Kombat. One of your guys fighting games upstairs, he's a character in it you can fight with, and he's got this crazy suit, and I never seen it before.
Wait, no,
was it green and purple? Was it green and purple?
I think so.
No,
Yeah,
it was gray and purple.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'd never seen it before. I just only knew Lex Luthor as like a normal guy,
Yeah.
a bad guy, but not with a suit. I do like how he's bald in all of his character iterations, but in some of the movies, like the old Superman movies, he wears a wig and he like gets really embarrassed when his wig falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen girls do that, like in public, or not in public, in just videos too. They'll be walking around, and they'll be like getting in an argument with somebody, and the guy would just be really mad, and he'll just yank her wig off, and she'll be like, "Oh my gosh!"
That's usually not a wig, that's a weave.
We've true.
Yeah, wigs are for people who are bald. Girls put extensions or weaves in their hair to like make their hair longer or look different.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Sort of like a
Weaves are kind of stupid to me.
Well, you have really nice long hair without having to wear one, but some people don't. So
they can't help it.
Just short hair. Like, I prefer having long hair, but short hair is still good.
what if you're a girl and you want to have long hair?
But how did you get your hair cut off?
A lot of people can't grow hair, especially when they get older.
Okay.
So let's not alienate our weave-wearing audience. Jett, do you have anything else to say about Lex Luthor before we move on?
No.
Okay, so are we ready to do number 3?
Yep.
All right, Kade, wait, did you not do you're going last, Jett. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kade, why is Joker your favorite? You said Batman was.
I know. I kind of replaced Batman with Joker because Joker is much more cool than Batman, in my opinion. You know, Batman didn't even make my list today.
Oh, dang. He's probably an honorable mention.
I kind of realized on how he is. He's still... See, I had him tied with my number 2, but then I realized my number 2 has a better backstory and stuff as a hero.
So well, let's talk about Batman from your side, Jett, because you have him as your number 4. Why is Batman your number 4?
He's in my... Like, honestly, I don't really like Batman that much, but it's DC characters, and I like Marvel characters so much more. In fact, I was telling my dad earlier that when I made my Marvel list, that's my actual list of superheroes overall. All 5 of my actual favorite superheroes, DC and Marvel combined,
you had villains.
all 5 of them is Marvel.
So what you're saying is if you were making a list of your top 5 superhero / villain characters, the top 5 would all be from Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
Spider-Man is definitely my favorite. I'm addicted to watching the movie.
I know. We talked
we
about
know-
Spider-Man
we know
in
enough
great
about
length on
Spider-Man.
the Marvel episode.
I love
Oh my
him.
God.
So let's go back to Batman because that's who we're talking about now as your number 4.
A much cooler hero.
No, he is
okay,
not.
Kade, why is Batman cooler? Talk about. We're
Yeah,
trying to
okay,
talk
so
about Batman.
Batman is an amazing superhero. And, you know, people might say, oh, he's not a superhero because he doesn't have any superpowers.
Yeah, he
is
doesn't.
Iron Man. And many people like Iron Man. He's one of the favorites in the Avengers. See, but people don't understand, Batman is also an amazing fighter. I've read stuff about him. You know, he's also a martial artist. He's also a genius, too. He's very smart, and that's why he earned all of his money, because he's rich because he's smart.
Yeah, I you're making good points. And Batman doesn't have any powers, neither does Iron Man. Now, Iron Man wears a suit that gives him powers.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Batman was
It's
trained in
fighting.
the martial arts, and he's very smart, and he's got a lot of money. He's very wealthy. He has a lot of tools and cool things at his disposal, similar to Tony Stark
And he built
Iron
all
Man.
of his, like Iron Man.
Yeah, so he has some admirable qualities, and I don't want to hate on Batman for that. The reason I hate on Batman is because people rank him above Superman.
Well, yeah, they kind of, with this new movie that came out, he sort of beat, I from what I heard, sorry, spoilers. Do I want me to spoil this?
Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Batman versus Superman.
Batman sort of wins. It's just what I don't even know if this is completely true. My friend told me that Batman sort of wins. Superman also sort of wins. Wonder Woman is partly in it. I'm not sure what Wonder Woman's doing in there.
And apparently Batman beat him in a comic also. I haven't read it. I think it's a bunch of bull, really. Like, I cannot fathom. It makes me automatically discount Batman as a character, and it's like it was written that way only because that would give more credence or credibility to the Batman character, which a lot of people like. And that's fine. A lot of people can like it. But don't make him out to be something he's not. There is no way on Earth he could beat Superman unless he had kryptonite, right? That's the
Which
only way
he
to beat
did.
Superman. But even then, I
makes-
still think Superman would win.
Yeah,
That's like Lex Luthor, though. He's just Lex Luthor,
And
but just
Superman
better.
still beats him.
Yeah, but he's Lex Luthor, but with better qualities. He's a lot smarter. You know.
He's not smarter.
Yeah, he is.
Lex Luthor is the smartest human in existence according to the DC universe.
and I'm gonna unleash
Smarter than
it.
Bruce Wayne, smarter than Tony Stark.
Well, he's better. He has better
Sorry
fighting
for-
skills. I bet you anything that. He's also
Sorry
better
for
engineer.
those. Sorry for those Robin fans, but Batman hangs with the '60s Robin, and I cannot help with that.
Okay,
The
I'm gonna-
Robin's sort of a lame addition.
I'm going to go into my number 3 because my number 3 is Batman. And it's not just Batman, though. I picked Michael Keaton's Batman from 1989 to 1992 in those movies. And a little bit of backstory on that, because you guys have seen them maybe once, but it's been a while. Tim Burton directed those movies. Tim Burton is known for doing kind of creepy yet very charming type movies like Edward Scissorhands. He did The Nightmare Before Christmas, Jett, that movie that you love so much. Kind of creepy, but also really like
Happy.
like people still love the characters
Yeah.
even though they're creepy. He directed these original Batman movies, and they're very right up his alley. Like they you can tell they're Tim Burton movies.
Was that the one with what's it called, Penguin?
That was the second one.
Okay, yeah, I like the second one a lot.
They're both really good. The first one is better. The first one was with Joker.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've seen the full one of that.
The thing is with Michael Keaton is that he's a talented actor, but he doesn't fit the superhero mold very well. He's just kind of like a normal guy, and you wouldn't think that he would pull it off, but he plays Bruce Wayne really nicely. He doesn't use the ridiculous voice that Christian Bale uses that we were making fun of earlier. And really, the movies that came out in 1989 started this whole Batman cult-like following. There was Batman before these. They were in those old TV shows from the 60s that Jett and I watched a little bit of. The boom, pow, wham.
Oh yeah.
They're ridiculous. They are horrible.
Yeah.
And I think Batman would have stayed kind of in that kitschy realm if it wasn't for these 89 movies that came out. And like you said, Kade, they had Penguin in the sequel, and
Who played Penguin? He did it really well.
it was Danny DeVito, and he was very creepy, right?
Very.
And
He bit the nose.
yeah, it was
Bit
done
the
really
nose.
Yeah, this guy, they're like making jokes and stuff. Everyone's laughing. He goes, and your nose, and he starts laughing too, and they're making fun of him, and he goes, oh, ha, ha. And then he makes like a scary like little like a howl thingy, and then he bites like his part of his nose off, and
Ew,
Yeah,
ew, that's
it's pretty sick.
disgusting.
Well, I think maybe our listeners right now think I'm crazy for choosing this Batman over the Dark Knight Batman. The Dark Knight Batman had tons of box office success and critical acclaim, and I did like those movies. I just don't like them as much as everybody else does for a couple reasons. Like Christian Bale, the actor, he's a very good actor. I like him a lot. But the voice, it pulls me out of the movie. I know it's I'm nitpicking, but when I hear it, it does. I hear it and I'm like, this is dumb. And it pulls me right out of the movie. And then I have to get back into it. Like we did talk about Heath Ledger, and I won't bring that up again. When it comes down to it, I slightly prefer the original Batman to the Dark Knight. And although I do like the Dark Knight, I knock it down a peg or two because so many people put it on this high pedestal. I mean, if you go to IMDb.com and look at the top 250, the Dark Knight's like in the top 5 movies of all time. I'm like, yeah, right. I mean, it's above Star Wars. It's above Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
It's like,
Honestly,
guys are nuts.
Batman. I really like Batman a lot. He's been my favorite for a long time. Not now though, but he's been my favorite for a while. And I gotta say though, people really like Batman. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
No,
people.
we
that
were
like
watching
Batman.
those videos. Jett, do you remember a couple days ago we were watching those videos of for our listeners? There's a YouTube channel out there that's a comic store in California.
Oh yeah.
And they remake battles of famous heroes or characters one against another, and they have people go vote, and hundreds of thousands of people go vote, and then based on the results they make these videos of them battling each other, and they're done really well. They're very cool.
Yeah, some of them have really bad endings.
Some of them.
Well, so obviously not everybody's going to agree with who won. My point is that
Green
Batman-
Ranger over
Power
Scorpion.
Rangers.
okay, but Batman was in a couple of them, and I think 3 that we watched, and I mean, really, I was scared he was going to win all 3 just because he's so popular. He only
Yeah.
won one of them. He lost to Vader. Thank goodness.
It was a close vote though.
It wasn't that close on that
Wait,
one.
It was
I
like
think it was a different
60
one.
something
64
to
to
It was
30.
different. It was a
36.
different one I'm thinking of.
Um,
That was a really close one. Was there?
and he lost to somebody else. I think it was Wolverine. Yeah, he lost to Wolverine, and then he beat somebody else. So he's super popular, and I get it. I have a little bit of anti-Batman sentiment because of how popular he is, I guess. Because if
he was less popular, would you like him a lot more?
I'm not saying I dislike him. I knock him down a peg or two because of how much people put him on a pedestal.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I had him as number 3. I don't have any other version of Batman on my list. Just the Michael Keaton Batman made my top 5. But
in the Batman vs Superman, he's basically Iron Man and Lex Luthor combined.
All right, Kade. So Jett, you had Batman as number 4. Kade, who do you have as your number 4?
Deathstroke.
So we're going on to number 3. So, Kade, who do you have as your number 3?
My number 3. You guys probably Jett might know her a little bit. It's Raven.
I don't know Raven.
Yeah, Raven is, a lot of people don't know her. She's in the new Teen Titans movie. She's my favorite character in there. She's awesome.
What?
Raven is
Beast Boy.
Raven is awesome. Okay, she's basically this demon girl, and her dad is like the almighty, powerful, who's destroyed other universes, but basically she's trying to get away from her dad and be sort of a hero type, but can't resist the demon that pulls her inside, and she goes on and like when she gets mad, she'll go on and destroy galaxies, but when she's nice, she'll like save the world. And, she's back and forth sometimes, but inside her, so I don't know if she's technically a villain or a hero. She works with the Teen Titans. Her character is portrayed most to people, because she's in a lot most of
the funny version we watch. She's a good guy.
She's a good guy, but in comics and stuff that I've seen, her demon pulls out.
I couldn't even tell you. I can't even picture her. I don't know anything about this character. I don't know anything about the Teen Titans.
She's a girl. She's like very pale. She wears like a dark cloak that covers most of her body. So
yeah, that's the only time I like Robin. It's in the Teen Titans. The funny version of it is like hilarious. Me and Kate watch it all the time.
Yeah, but some of y'all might not even know Raven, so
yeah.
Okay, well, I don't have anything to say about Raven because I don't know who she is. I already talked about my number 3 as Batman. What?
I forgot her backstory. Her backstory, basically, she was a darkness when she was trying to escape from her dad, not to get to Earth, but just escape from her dad. She was just like a piece of matter that didn't want to exist. So she was trying to leave everything because she can't really die.
Is Teen Titans the one where it's animated?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, Beast Boy.
Okay, I think I know who she is. She's kind of emo.
Yeah.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, she's a darkness that comes into this world, and she was like, okay, this is really stupid, all of this living and happy stuff, I'm just going to kill everything here. And so she while she's trying to kill everything, she finds the Teen Titans, out of other superpowers, and they were really nice to her, and they took her in, and so she changed herself. She had 6 red eyes, and she closed 4 of them, and so she looked like more normal to the human world. She doesn't want to show her face. She just shows her eyes and her mouth.
Interesting.
So she says that she's waiting for the time to come. We don't know what that means yet, where she's gonna kill everybody. So
okay,
and she's powerful enough too.
Yeah. All right, Jett, who do you have for your number 3?
My number 3 is the Flash.
Nice.
He's
my number 2.
Me too.
I think Superman's probably faster than Flash, honestly.
I have some information on that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Think.
Okay, so Flash is my number 2, so we can all talk about him because Kate is your number 2 also. Okay, we'll go right to the speed part. Who wins in a race between Superman and Flash?
Superman.
If Superman is not flying,
Yeah, no flying.
it's the Flash.
Yeah.
Jett, do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. But if Superman is flying way faster.
Okay,
Superman.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know about that because I don't think Superman flies any faster than he runs. I think he can go the same speed either way. However, let me just get into it. They have raced several times. The first couple ended up in ties, mostly because of outside circumstances. Like they were racing to save somebody and then something got in the way of one of them or whatever, and they got there at the same time. However, Flash did beat Superman in a race at one point with the explanation that Superman is not accustomed to running for long periods of time since he usually just flies instead.
Well, that could just be in a comic book.
Oh.
This is all from comic books. We're talking about DC
Well,
characters.
yeah, DC
Hold on, I'm not done yet. Hold on. In a later comic, Flash is much faster than Superman, and explains that in previous races they'd only been close because for charity. He was being nice. And then in a TV show that was called Smallville, which is kind of the story of Superman growing up, he met Flash and they got in a race, and Flash outruns Clark Kent running backwards. So Flash is way faster than Superman.
If that's his main power, then it's gotta be, what?
Right.
If he's so powerful.
And the thing is, the reason I think that he runs the same speed that he flies is because of the way that this comic was explained. He can go just as fast. He's just not used to doing it that way because flying takes less energy, right? So he can just go like this and fly. Yeah, so he's just not used to traveling for long distances running. Because why would he? He would just fly instead.
Because I saw a version in another comic I read from my friend I got. Where he was on a planet. And the planet was really big. It was about they said it was 2 times the size of Jupiter. Okay, and while he was running on it, he had to get somewhere so fast that when he was running on it, he started going burning the earth so much, burning the planet so much. He ran around it, and the thing was about to crack and fall apart.
There was one example. I didn't write it down, but it was something that he actually can travel faster, at least as fast, probably faster than the speed of light. He went to the end of the universe and back in an instant, and he can travel so fast that he can make his molecules vibrate, that he can pass through walls and things like that. So in my mind, there's no doubt Flash is faster than Superman.
Well, yeah, you're talking about stuff from the Earth, and he made almost the Earth explode. Well, I was thinking about that. Superman went so fast that he went back in time.
Yeah, he made the
Flash
Earth spin the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Flash could do that because he can't fly, as far as I know. But
I've seen he can move his arms so fast like he can fly. I've seen that in a TV show.
So I don't know. I think what we need, and I'm surprised we haven't had one, is a Flash movie.
We've had one, haven't we?
No,
we
DC.
haven't.
As far as I know, they've never made a Flash movie. At least not in modern.
I've heard
people don't know that how powerful he actually is if they don't go into debt and try to search for his power.
I've heard.
Say, oh, he's just really fast. He can run really fast.
I've heard
he could move his molecules so fast he can move through walls and stuff. Like people don't know that stuff. People just think he runs fast.
I've heard that there was a pretty good show of Flash.
I'm sure there have been shows.
Oh yeah, there's a Flash show that's really popular.
I know he was on cartoons because I knew about him as a kid. My biggest memory of Flash actually growing up was his action figure. I didn't have a whole lot, but I had a Flash one, and I had a Superman one, and a Batman.
Well, sometimes
and the Flash was my favorite action figure. It was really cool. I loved his uniform. His ability was simple for me to understand as a kid. He's super fast. I'm a bit surprised they haven't made a movie yet because they made a Green Lantern movie unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to make movies on minor characters like Marvel does, and they've done it well. They've made Thor and Iron Man weren't like super characters, but they made really good movies. Why not make one on Flash? I hope they do at some point, and I hope that they do a better job than they did
on Green Lantern
and than what they did on these new Superman movies that aren't very good.
I think they are. Kate, you thought they were also.
They're good movies. They could have done better with the ideas they had.
Also, what also gets me on Batman's nerves, I was playing this game I got in 2010 that was made in 2010. It's a good game. The only thing that's bad about it is Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. And in it, Batman beats Flash. I was like, no way. There's no way that would happen. No, not even a chance.
Batman is we've talked about it a lot. He's a very popular character, and so people because he's so popular, it's like he's more powerful than he should be. Like, there's no way he should be able to beat Flash because Flash does have a superpower that's really useful.
I heard Flash is also super strong, isn't he?
I don't know. I don't know enough about him, but. Anyway, I really like Flash. It sounds like we all had him pretty high on our list. Do we have anything else to say about him? What do you guys think of his uniform? Do you think he looks cool?
Oh, he looks awesome.
Yeah, I think he looks cool.
Especially in the Injustice. The Injustice, like I said, they did amazing on the character models. When you get special versions of him, he's awesome. I saw something where I forgot what it was. I think I was browsing YouTube videos or something. And I saw something that was like an old episode of Flash where he started punching the planet. I think it was Earth, and he was punching it so fast, and then he just went through the entire Earth, like from one
All the way
side
through.
to the other.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot.
Jett, you brought up Flash. What else do you want to talk about him?
There's another thing also. I think I can guess your number one, and it's my number one also, I think.
Okay, well, we're not quite there yet because you just gave your number 3, which was Flash.
We
I
gave
already
our
have
number
my
2.
It was
number
both of our
2.
number 2, so we go to your number 2. We already did yours?
Yeah,
Who was it again?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. So now we're going on to number 1. So you want to try to guess our number 1. Hold on, Jett's going to try to guess.
Yeah, I already know what your number one is. Yours is probably Superman. So is mine.
Mine is, but can you tell me which version of Superman?
The old school ones.
Well,
like
not the really old ones. He goes back a long way.
The 70s.
Late 70s and early 80s. Christopher Reeve was the actor that played him, and that version of Superman is my number 1. But Kade, you're before me. Who's your number 1?
You already said mine, Joker.
Oh yeah, we did Joker. Okay, so let's talk about Superman then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my favorite of the DC movies by far, and nothing is even close, is those Superman movies from the late 70s and early 80s. Defined what a superhero movie should be like. Maybe it was my age when they came out, but both Superman and Superman 2 were just awesome to me. The music is epic. It's John Williams. I play it now if I could plug in my phone, but I can't.
There's 4 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, but the first 2 are the only ones I care about.
Is
The
3
other,
or 4 good?
they're not nearly as good as the first 2. He's everything a hero is supposed to be. He's humble, he's good, and he wins, and he's impervious. And because he's like perfect,
The best.
I think it makes him less likable by today's standards.
That is true.
And maybe one of the reasons why the newer Superman movies haven't really resonated like the other hero movies have. He's not fallible, and therefore he's not relatable. Do you know what that means?
He like can't be beaten.
He's unbeatable,
Also-
except with kryptonite,
also-
and that becomes a very tiresome
Batman.
storytelling device because the only way to beat him is with kryptonite. So that becomes the element in every Superman story.
Also, I have to admit this with Kate. We were talking about earlier to Dad that top 3 most probably known superheroes. 1 was Superman, 2 is Batman, 3 was probably like maybe Spider-Man. And so I've been thinking about this, that the new movies have been going down, I think maybe so much that number 1 might be Batman right now.
Yeah, he might be. I wouldn't say he's the most well-known. I still think Superman is the most well-known.
is definitely
But
still our best-
he might be the favorite right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because his movies have been very successful and they have a huge fan following. The other thing about Superman, he has extraordinary powers. He can do everything. He's got super strength, he can fly, he's got super speed, although not as fast as Flash. He has X-ray
Not
vision,
my
he has
opinion.
heat vision, he has super hearing, he has super breath. He can blow you down or freeze you with his breath. He can do
he
everything.
hardly uses
Basically,
that.
all of the superheroes combined, but those separate superheroes, their power is stronger against. Like, Superman's fast, but the Flash is faster, but he doesn't have laser eyes.
Is there
or
anybody who's stronger than Superman?
Hulk, maybe.
Maybe.
I think
Well, they're technically...
Wait. I think Superman is because he like carried a whole ship, like a whole big
Yeah, that's true.
ship.
If we go into comics, there's many things I can name.
Well, and his
about.
heat vision is not as good as or powerful as Cyclops' heat vision.
Yeah, Cyclops.
So I see what you're saying,
Oh yeah, that's definitely true.
Ice breath, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze, or the guy from The Incredibles, Frozone.
Frost.
Frozone.
Marvel or
Superman
DC?
was that's neither. That's Disney, Pixar. Superman was voted IGN's number 1 top 100 comic book heroes. Empire magazine had him ranked the greatest comic book character ever. I think he'll always be there. Now it's the new movies, the 2 new movies. They're not even related. They did a Superman Returns movie, and then they did the Man of Steel, which is a different story and a different actor and everything. Neither one of them were very good.
Speaking of comics, I actually don't like Spider-Man's comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I never got to Spider-Man's comics. That's something very interesting.
Yeah, but his movies and things are awesome.
You guys are probably wondering where I got my comics from. Me and my friend traded comics at school.
You mentioned that on another episode, on another podcast.
I read a lot of comics.
So, and I already talked about this. I'm going to bring it up again because it's dumb. Batman could never beat Superman, and it's only done to give him more credibility. It's completely unbelievable, and therefore I reject it in my personal canon. I'm Jett now, Canyon. In my personal canon, it never happened.
Okay, it was kind of a stretch for for ideas, with Batman getting kryptonite, but he is probably the smartest.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, it did.
Nope, never happened. Jett, what else do you have to say about Superman? He's your number one also.
He's strong, and he has ice breath, and he has lasers.
You need to talk in a normal voice because our listeners can barely understand your normal voice.
All the heroes.
Okay, I have nothing to say.
Nothing else, really?
Okay,
No.
yeah, I have one more thing to say. Like we were saying about someone has something better than one of his powers. Found someone stronger than him. Is Mr. Galaxy or Mr. Universe? I don't know who he is. He's giant. He's like the size of many planets, and he's stronger. He can literally pick up galaxies and just chuck them.
I know you're talking about Mr. Universe. If you've read the comics and you've seen
never got
all
any
the
comics
video
about
games,
Mr. Universe.
that Superman
He has,
has
like, big
defeated
helmet.
him so many times.
Who wins between Superman and Thor?
Thor.
Superman. There's
Thor.
no question. Oh my gosh. Thor doesn't know.
He
what
has a
krypton-
weakness. Thor does not have a weakness.
Oh,
Take
really?
away his hammer.
Oh, really?
He can't take away his hammer. He can pick it up.
How do you know? It's Superman.
Oh, really? He could probably just get a cinder block and throw it at it, and it'll go away. And also, how is Thor gonna beat him with his weakness when he doesn't even know what his weakness is?
You can figure out.
How is he gonna figure out? He's not a freaking genius.
Asgard, they know every planet. That guy with
He'll
the
just
big
destroy
sword that's like at the end of the
Asgard.
cave. It looks really
Did you
cool.
watch the Superman versus Thor video when Jett and I were watching those, or
Yeah,
did you come in after?
it's just some geeks that did it.
I'm just asking if you watched it.
I watched
So when you
Thor
watched
was
it,
just-
were you rooting for Thor?
I was definitely rooting for Thor.
So would you rank Thor ahead of Superman as your favorite superheroes?
Favorite, yes.
Okay, so that's probably why you're picking Thor to beat him in a fight. At least partially you're biased because you like him more.
Partially.
That is just
Very
most-
slim. Yeah, this is Mr. Galaxy and Mr. Universe.
It's Mr. Universe. He is not that powerful. Okay.
Okay,
Superman
he's
has-
freaking giant. Okay.
He's freaking giant. He's about the size of Superman. Honestly, I've seen him. He's about the size.
I think you're thinking of the wrong person. Really big pink helmet.
a pink helmet.
I know who you're talking about. We saw him. They interviewed a guy wearing that costume when we were watching those videos.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the DC versus Mortal Kombat. that
No,
one
we were
with
watching.
the- oh, yeah.
We were watching the Fairly Odd Parents, and they had like a little like special with him, and he was, he's actually bigger than that. He's actually bigger than Earth, I think, isn't he? He's taller than Earth.
I
Well,
don't know.
the thing is, like, some of these like superheroes and villains, they always have to go one up the last
Yeah.
story. So they get ridiculous sometimes. Like the villain in the Green Lantern, like the only way they could beat him was by throwing him into the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was silly.
Wait,
What?
is the guy you're talking about? Is he in DC?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, by
Are
the
you
way, didn't you
sure?
say Green Lantern was part of your top 5?
Wait.
I changed it.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. I saw all you're talking about. You know that we have a Marvel poster,
Yeah, I was about to say, it's on your poster.
of every Marvel character, and he is on there. He has a pink helmet.
I don't know.
he
I
has
can't
gloves.
answer. Maybe you guys
He's
are talking
from
about
Marvel.
different guys. We'll figure this out maybe
Yeah.
after the show. Okay, let's move on then. Honorable mentions.
Also, I have something else after. Well, after we do our least favorite character. After
The worst.
that. Yeah, the worst.
Okay, so let's do our honorable mentions. Kade, who do you have for honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, Green Lantern, for one. We talked about him a little bit. To say about him, except his movie was, honestly, it was terrible. They could have done a lot better.
I
on
do
it.
not know what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with this movie.
The movie's awful.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
It's horrible.
Oh, there's
The
one.
lines
really,
are so cheesy.
there's one really cringy part.
The whole thing is cringy. The villain is cringy. Ryan Reynolds, he's played 3 heroes now. He was Green Lantern and he was both versions of Deadpool, maybe just 2. He's not a superhero. He's a comedy actor, and it worked with Deadpool because it was a comedy movie, but he can't pull off the hero role.
Yeah, Green Lantern.
And the story was really bad. The villain was really bad. The whole thing was really bad.
Well, at the very end, you have to admit that was freaking awesome. That
He
giant.
swam to the sun.
I wasn't a fan. But, you know.
Doesn't make any sense, too. He would definitely burn up. I don't think he has any, like, cooling power. Like, how would he get that close to the sun?
I don't know. I didn't like it. But he made your honorable mention. Anybody else?
No, I don't think anybody else made my honorable mentions.
Oh, wait. Hold on. No.
Okay, I've got a couple. I put Joker. We already talked about him. And Penguin. Zod I had as an honorable mention.
I forgot about Zod.
I remembered Zod. I didn't feel like I should put him on my list. He's Superman, but just a bad guy.
Yeah, basically. And that actually kind of made him not... That's the reason why he wouldn't make a top 5 for me. Because we already have an impervious character. And when you have two guys who are indestructible fighting each other, and that's what happened in Man of Steel.
What is wrong with that? You like movies that have story in it. That has a lot of story.
I didn't see a lot of story in that movie. It was a lot of non-story and then a lot of CGI fighting, and that was the end of it. It was very quiet and very slow, and then all of a sudden there was a ton of fighting, and they were throwing each other and destroying buildings. And
Well, did you at least like the fighting part?
Not really, because there wasn't story behind it to make it interesting, and because it's two indestructible characters fighting each other, which is not interesting to me.
It goes on for infinite.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't interesting to me. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I think everybody should like their own things. I'm just, you're trying to convince. You're not going to convince me to like it.
Can you kill Superman by snapping his neck? Because he killed Zod by.
He killed Zod by snapping his neck.
Yeah.
I guess he could have done the same to Superman. I don't know. I mean,
Is this like skin impenetrable?
I don't know. I don't know. But when
That's
you
a
have
good
two
question.
basically indestructible characters, how does one of them win? Well, they have to come. The only way they can do it is by bending the rules in some way. And if by snapping his neck is killing him, I think that is probably bending the rules for them being indestructible on Earth. But whatever, they're both indestructible, so one of them had to win at some point. I also had Harley Quinn as an honorable mention, which we've already talked about her a little bit. I'm looking forward to see how they portray her in the Suicide Squad, because I don't know much about her, and it looks interesting.
She's like very happy, very like joy is the only word that can describe her. You know, she just cartwheels, can snap people's necks. You know, she's very deadly, very happy, very enjoyable.
Okay.
I keep hearing this person. I don't know who he is. I keep hearing this person Deadshot.
Deadshot, I don't know.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, it
Sounds like a copy of Deadpool. Low budget.
Well, what about Deathstroke?
Deathstroke is awesome. Everyone knows Deathstroke.
Yeah, but if
Any
that's
more
dead,
honorable mentions?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so let's move on to the worst.
We all know what our worst is.
Mine, you don't know. Kade, what is your worst?
Mr. Universe. His character's so silly to me, and you know, just something bigger than, or it's just no, it's not.
Aqua.
To me, it's not right.
Mine is Aquaman.
Shut up.
Okay, what's bad about Aquaman is he's not really. He can use normal powers with his staff. If he brings water to the city, he's gonna knock all the buildings down.
So okay. let's compare. I had a toy of Aquaman when I was a kid, and he was my least favorite of the toys, but I still liked him okay. I think he's kind of useless when it comes to these superhero movies. However,
He's only good in water.
let's compare him to the mythology of the Greek gods. Poseidon. He
He's
is basically
basically
Poseidon.
Poseidon.
He controls the ocean and the animals and the creatures that live in it, and that's his area. And he can't beat somebody like Zeus who can control the skies in that arena. But if you come fight him in the water, he's going to win. So why can't he just be the king of the heroes that are in the water and leave the land to Superman and Batman and
Well,
everybody
see
else?
him against Kit Fisto in the cartoons.
There you go. He's a Nautilus.
Apparently, he wants to go to the city, bring all the water, and kill all the people in it and
He's
drown
not a
them.
villain. He's a hero.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
but
have
if
to
you
bring
bring
water from
I
the ocean.
think-
There's water everywhere in urban areas and stuff.
A lot of people,
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
people
gonna-
hate on Aquaman, but I honestly think they could make him an interesting character in the movies if
They
they really
really
wanted
could.
to.
If he can, like, meet Poseidon in the ocean.
That would not make any sense, but
All right, so I did not have either one of those as the worst. I actually had a harder time picking the worst than my top 5 list because there were so many characters I considered. I considered Green Lantern because the movie was horrible. I considered Mr. Freeze which is the only time I've ever really, really, really liked Arnold in an action movie because it was so ridiculous. You guys might not have seen this Batman. Horrible. I considered Riddler another Batman villain because he's also horrible in the movie.
Riddler makes no sense to me.
And he's just kind of annoying in general. Jet, we watched that that old 60s episode of Batman and Robin, and he was like annoying then,
I don't
too.
know for sure, but I'm pretty sure Joker was around in the 60s, and I'm pretty sure Riddler was the first villain of Batman.
I don't know.
I remember
about that.
when in the Teen Titans episode, Robin has a safe, I think. He's trying to keep secret from everybody. And then when they open it, it's his 60s outfit. He's like, never to speak of this again.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, that brings me to my worst, and it is Robin. That is who I settled on in the end. The other choices that I listed could be attributed to one bad performance and the one shot I got to see them, But Robin is horrible all the time. He's always useless. He's mostly used as a joke. His uselessness and general suckiness started in those old Batman shows when he looked and acted ridiculous. But unlike his partner Batman, he wasn't ever improved on in any of the follow-on iterations. Batman got cooler in the '89 movie and in the Dark Knight trilogy. Robin is still dumb and useless, and he is the worst.
Not that bad.
Nightwing is not that bad. Nightwing is pretty cool. I gotta admit, he's dark. Everything. He has a family now. He has kids and stuff, and he's become less of a joke, I guess you could say. Very, with his bike and stuff, and he's become more of a Batman gadget guy, I guess you could say.
I don't even know who you're talking about. Who's Nightwing?
Is Robin when he grew up, and he grew up,
but
and
he didn't become
more mature, and he become less of the more colorful guy and more of the black and dark blue guy.
As an honorable mention, I didn't think about this till now. What about what's his name? Is it Alfred?
Yeah, Alfred.
Yeah. The guy who's like Batman's assistant?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy is the bomb. I would love to have him as an assistant. He does everything.
Yeah,
he's
pretty awesome.
Would you like me to, when you $14 million.
Would you rather have Alfred or Jarvis?
Alfred any day.
Who's
Jarvis is the artificial intelligence
How do you not know
assistant that Tony Stark created. He asked Jarvis for everything. He's like, Jarvis, do this. Jarvis, get me that. Jarvis, tell me this.
R2-D2 over anything, though.
Wait, who do you like?
I might take Jarvis.
Why?
Because he's awesome.
I know, but it's Alfred. I saw a side story one time where Alfred became a super killer, and he was actually stayed as Batman assistant and loyal person to Batman for a long time. Discover him, and he kills him, and through his work, he kills Superman too.
Okay, that's just a stupid story. Okay, that's the stupidest
It's just a cool little side story.
I think I'm gonna probably go with Jarvis just because it's a robot, and robots are freaking awesome, like Iron Man suits and stuff.
Yeah, well, R2-D2's the best robot.
So, Kade, Jett told us that if he made a top 5 list overall, that none of the DC characters would have even made the list.
Yeah.
What about
Mine's
you?
a mix towards DC more, though.
Who's your number one?
Villains?
Characters. Yeah, including villains.
Joker.
Okay.
No, I thought it was Deadpool.
Deadpool wasn't even his number one in Marvel, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was Iron Man.
It's number 2.
No,
Give
it
it
was
to-
Iron Man because
Oh,
I
yeah,
guessed
it
your
was
number
Iron
one, and I
Man.
started
I said
playing
Deadpool was number 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very close between Iron Man and Joker, though.
Okay, but your number one hero would be Iron Man.
My number one hero would be Iron Man.
Gotcha.
Number one character would be Joker.
I would have Superman on my list. He would be probably number one over Iron Man because of those old movies, but it's close.
Wait,
I like them both a lot.
Number one, Superman?
Probably. Okay, any other final thoughts on DC characters before we wrap this up?
Well, I have to say my one thing also.
Okay,
I don't know.
yeah.
DC better or over Oh, wait, no, Jack. Go first.
Well, I will tell you, I touched on this earlier. I liked DC better as a kid, and as an adult, I like Marvel better.
I like Marvel better overall.
I've grown. I think later I'm gonna grow onto DC more than I am gonna grow on Marvel. Marvel has always been better to me. I like the Avengers a lot, but I'm learning much more now about DC characters, and I'm just sort of growing onto them.
Okay.
I was thinking, what do you think that would be the best superhero team up?
Oh, so you get to pick two heroes to partner up?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm only saying this. I don't think it's just because it's my favorite superhero. But, Dad, I think you remember from number 3 when Harry and Spider-Man team up at the very end?
Yeah, they have to team up to beat Venom.
They teamed up pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, but I could think of a stronger team. I think if you took somebody
I'm
like
just kidding. He's
Thor
not.
and Superman would destroy all.
I'm just
Thor
kidding.
and Superman, or even Iron Man and Superman, because then you're combining technology and genius level intelligence with somebody who has unlimited power.
I'm just kidding. It's not actually. I only did that so Kate could go.
Oh, okay. All right. So we ready to wrap this up?
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. What's yours?
What's my team up?
Yeah, team up.
I would say Superman with probably Tony Stark. Iron Man.
Might be. They've never teamed up.
Superman and
can I
Thor,
have villains?
actually.
Can I have villains?
Yeah, villains and superheroes.
Oh, I do Deadpool and Deathstroke.
Nobody can hear you say that.
I do Deadpool and Deathstroke.
I would probably do Deadpool or Superman together, or like maybe like I don't know who else.
I think if you put somebody like Tony Stark with Superman, Tony Stark could come up with a way to protect Superman from kryptonite.
Sure.
And then Superman would be unbeatable, and he would have Iron Man flying around helping him out.
Well, what about Batman and Superman? What about Batman and Superman?
Tony Stark over Bruce Wayne any day.
Well, Tony Stark is probably smarter.
Yeah.
But Bruce Wayne is probably a better fighter.
No.
Hand-to-hand
That's
hand-to-hand combat.
Without the suit, Bruce Wayne for sure. In the suit, I give it to Iron Man. All right.
But Spider-Man better with fists out of both.
Well, he's got Spidey sense. Not fair.
Yeah, that's what's so good about him.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen. Please check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/5to1podcast. Give us your opinions there. Let us know why you agree or why you think we're idiots. We want your opinion. It's also a great spot to leave us ideas for future episodes.
Feedback.
Also, please take the time to give us a review on iTunes. We welcome all feedback, especially good feedback, and it helps our podcast gain exposure. I've been talking about ways to get a hold of us outside of Facebook, and we do have an email address now. You can write to us at 5to1podcast@gmail.com. Like the Facebook page, it's 5to1, our numbers. They're not spelled out. We do have a website in the works, and we will be debuting that soon. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right. Well, please join us next time on 5to1 for our discussion on...
I think we should do our top 5 favorite video games.
Let's do it.
Good.
You heard it from the boss. So join us next week for our discussion on 5to1 video games.
It might be tomorrow.
Love you, bye. I love you so much.